Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking and not liking and leaving your comments. It's been an interesting few days actually because I got my very first YouTube comment, which I was thrilled about. It just wasn't so positive and it brought me to this place where I figured I should actually address it ahead of time because it's something that keeps coming back throughout my life, not just here on YouTube. Like, it's something that it's making a pattern now, and I figure that we should just nip it in the bud early on so we can then move on with our lives. So I'm going to read you the comment and then I'm going to tell you the history that I've had with similar sentiments throughout my life, and then I'm going to tell you my take on it. And I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I just thought that it is worth addressing because it's something that's very polarizing. Like, I actually, when people feel something about my accent is what it is about, and when people feel something about my accent, they actually feel strongly. Now, I've never had that sort of an adverse reaction to anybody else's accent, but since it happens with me, I figure we should just cover it and be done with it. So let me read you the comment and then I'll tell you a few scenarios that I've been involved in my life, and then I'll tell you what I think. So this comment says, it was done by someone, I think her name is Sim G. But she commented twice on the same post under two different accounts, so I'm really not sure which one she goes by. But this was her comment that I'm addressing. So, Mrs., what's up with the accent? You're from Claremont to Ross, so don't say it's how you usually speak. I've heard you with a Jamaican accent before. Why do people think speaking English automatically equates to having an American accent? That's very typical of Jamaicans. Cannot stand no. Big up to people who keep their accents like Yendi and Casey. Yours truly, an actual foreigner who hasn't lost their accent. Now, I'm going to break down her comment in bits and pieces. First of all, I want to say I am completely flattered that she would compare me to Yendi and Casey, because I love those girls. I know them. I've had to work with them at times, and they are so great, and they do wave the Jamaican flag as high as I do, and they are their authentic selves. So I am thrilled to be grouped in that category. No problem. But there are some differences between myself and Yendi and Casey. If you noticed in that video that she was commenting on, which was the intro video, I did say I was born in Florida. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. It was a 12-minute video. I thought it was long enough. But I was born in Florida, and I was back and forth for most of my life until I was about 8 years old. And then at 8, I went to Knox. Knox was a boarding school in Clarendon. Knox attracts all sorts of students, not just Jamaicans and not just people from Claremont. From Knox, I actually moved back to the States, and I was there until 10th grade when I came back and I went to Westwood, also a boarding school. Following Westwood, I moved back to the States, and I was in college until I moved to Italy for grad school, and then I came back to Jamaica. So there are a number of things that would have affected my accent. My accent, by all accounts, is not an American accent. It's not a Jamaican accent. It's not an Italian accent. It's really my accent. And what is interesting is that it has actually hindered me in certain areas when I really needed it to work for me, you know? So being myself at times has actually been less than enough. And, you know, I won't allow that to happen anymore. So here's the thing. When I moved back to Jamaica 10 years ago, I was to be cast in a show. The producer, Mark Kenny, you can ask him, he's an Irishman, he produces lots of things. He pulled me aside and told me straight up that I would never work on Jamaican television because of my accent. Fast forward a few years later, I was on Chatterbox. I don't know if you know that show, but if you don't know that show, go ahead. There's a YouTube channel. It has little segments of it. It's called Chatterbox JA on YouTube. And it was syndicated throughout the Caribbean. At which point, I was told that my accent was actually a plus because of the fact that it could be simulated throughout the Caribbean. So I ended up working on Jamaican TV. Thank you. And I ended up, my accent ended up being a plus, which had never happened before. Also, by and large, though, let me just clear this up. By and large, lots of people have always liked my accent. But when they hate it, they truly, truly hate it. I remember one night I was at a party. It was Shocktober. I dress up in Halloween costumes and stuff like that. And I remember meeting a Caymanian girl for the first time, and we were talking. She happened to be white. So I don't know if it's her experience that lots of Jamaicans might try to twang for her. So we were talking for a little bit, and then she said, anyway, so what do you really sound like? Because you're just twanging so much. And it was an awkward situation for me, to be honest with you, because I sat there and I was like, oh, this is how I talk. But yeah, so I wrapped up that conversation pretty quickly because, one, I thought, man, she must think like really highly of herself to think that I would sit here and try to put on an accent for God knows how long to impress her. And two, I mean, I don't know. Like, it was just so awkward that I was just like, you know, let me just mosey on my way and talk to people who know how I talk because I can't be bothered with the foolishness. Now, there is also a time when I remember we were out one night. My friend Opal was there, and there was this girl that was there, and she, I don't know, she was talking about her connection to the Marleys or something like that. And I was saying, you know, I'm from Claremont, and 9 Mile is where Bob Marley was born, and that's 9 miles measured from Claremont. And I don't know what happened to the girl. I don't know if she was drunk or she was a little crazy, but she threw a glass at me. And I'm not kidding you. Like, there's someone named Liz McAdam. Like, if you're watching, Liz, you remember this night because Liz had to walk her over to Terra Nova to get her away from me. And her whole complaint was, you're not from Claremont. Look how you talk. And I'm just like, okay, what do I do here? So it's just been like that. I remember, but it goes both ways, you know, because like I've gone like somewhere in St. Ann's Bay and I was trying to sell something to this guy, and this guy is like, no, move from here, you're far and all. And then somebody else is like, no, she's a yachty, her family's from Claremont, that's just how she talks, I've known her whole life. You understand? So, I mean, people have had to come to my defense more than once because of how I speak. Now, as I just outlined, you know, people will talk differently depending on their experiences and where they've been and all the different things that affect diction and, you know, pronunciation and sounds and all those things. I think it's a little myopic for any of us to make any judgments on people based on their accents now, because we have actually arrived at that point in time where the world is a global village. You yourself, I think your name is Simona because of a second comment that you made. But you yourself live somewhere else. So I actually thought, based on the exposure you would have overseas, you would understand that people might not always sound one way. But we are actually living in a global village. Like, people move and people go, and different things influence all sorts of things about us. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking of all the things that I don't do that, that are Jamaican. I don't do a lot of things that are Jamaican. And what would that mean? That because I come from Claremont, I should, like, know how to do those things? I'm not sure. Like, I think you should give people a break. You know, I'm glad for your comment, though, because this is a topic that keeps coming back up. And I'm sure I have more stories, but I think maybe your mind should be a little more open because of where you are. And mine has had no choice but to be open because I've always been surrounded by so many people from so many different places. So I don't even notice when people have accents anymore, to be honest with you, which is interesting in and of itself. When I speak Spanish, you'll hear the people from the different Spanish-speaking countries say, "You sound a little funny. Where are you from?" You know? And it's always a good thing. Like, it makes us break down more barriers, because then when I say, "Hey, I'm Jamaica," "Oh my God, where did you learn Spanish?" "In school in Jamaica." They're like, "No way." You understand? So, I think different things like accents should be icebreakers and not barriers. So, thank you for watching. I hope you continue to watch, because as I said in my reply and my response to you, there will be patois breakthroughs, because those naturally come. So keep watching for those, and when you enjoy them, just, give me a comment for that too, please. Thank you. So thank you all for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and see you next time. Be true to you.